Amen.
As we continue with this message, the topic on marriages, how to preserve these marriages, we can see that the devil is now making his last effort to fight God through marriages. That's why we said marriage, adultery is one of the signs of the end of time. So now we want to learn how then do we preserve or do we maintain the privacy of the family so that the devil does not tamper with marriages. How do you do that? Because everywhere the marriages are threatened by this breakage of the seventh law of adultery. But how do we preserve the family privacy? We need to learn that as a subject. Peradventure, we're going to save a lot of marriages of Christians. So here, I'm going to start reading from Adventist Home, the book Adventist Home, written by Sister White, page 337, third paragraph. We want to see what insight we can get from that book. Is full of preservation of the marriage vow, and we should make use of it so that we have our marriages well guarded before we meet with Christ. So let's read from there.
Oh, how many lives are made better by the breaking down of the walls which enclose the privacies of every family.
So in that sentence only, it's telling us that there are walls that are broken. Mm-hmm. So the marriage, the two people who are married should be enclosed in a wall. Amen. If they break that wall, the marriage is not going to be, sustained. The vow is going to be dissolved. Mm. So here we want to learn more about that, because now we know it's not only the two people married and making vows on the altar, but they need to maintain a wall in their life. You understand? Mm. Now let's hear. Mm-hmm.
And which are calculated to preserve its purity and sanctity.
Right. So this wall is calculated to preserve the marriage purity. Amen. And the sanctity of the marriage. Amen. So there is a wall around. Amen. Once that wall has been broken, the marriage will break. Amen. Do you understand? Amen. Why do you think there are divorces? It's breaking of that law. Of that wall. Mm-hmm. So there is a wall which needs to be firmly maintained. Amen. Without breaking it. Mm-hmm. And that wall, once broken, the two individuals will break their marriage. Mm-hmm. Right? But now we want to know how to preserve it. And we are going to study that. Let's go to the next sentence.
A third person is taken into the confidence of the wife.
Right.
And her private family matters are laid open before the special friend.
Most of the time, who breaks that wall? The introduction of a third person in the two. If I'm married to Mr. Mashiri, it should maintain our privacy. No one should come into our affairs. Did you understand? A third person, you introduce whatever is happening between the two of you. You are introducing trouble. A third person is taken into the confidence of the wife, and their private family matters are laid open before a special friend. If you see most marriages that have broken, it was the introduction of a third person who comes to answer questions happening between a married woman and her husband. And comes to answer and say, why is this happening? Oh, so what is he doing? Oh no. You are introducing trouble. You have introduced somebody to break that wall. It might be me introducing a female friend or a male friend. It's all disastrous. It's even worse if I introduce a male friend to hear all my problems with my husband. Tell that friend every day what is happening between me and my husband. That's what contributes to breaking this wall of sanctity. Do you see? If all the divorces that have happened, go and check. It was the introduction of a third person. If it's the wife who said, I no longer need my husband, I don't want my husband, check, there was a male friend introduced. If it's a man who said, I don't want my wife, check, there was a female friend introduced into this wall. There is a wall of sanctity which needs no one, not even a single person, to come into that wall. You understand? It should be maintained by the two married people only. Yeah? But this year,
A third person is taken into the confidence of the wife, and her private family matters are laid open before the special friend.
What family matters can come in? Like, for instance, my husband is not coming in, we are not sleeping together these days. My husband is working too much, I can't find time with him. We are this and that. We are telling a third person those private problems. What are you expecting? What do you expect? Sympathy from that person who is listening, isn't it? And that sympathy comes with the rest of the problems. The things that are trying to solve your problems by providing what you are lacking. What are you lacking? You are lacking the love from your husband. And what does the third person do? Provide that love. This is how marriages break. This is why the marriage is not maintained, because there was a third person who came in. And once a third person knows what is happening between me and my husband, there's no point of even continuing with that marriage. Because marriage remains a sanctity for two people only. What do you think Mr. and Mrs. Mashiri, there's something that they like between the two of them. It's their privacy.
Yes.
That we only the two of us know. Nobody else. If somebody knows my privacy, it might be a man talking about what is happening between himself and the wife. I don't like my wife, I don't like my wife, this is what she wants to dress, and this is what she's done today, this is what this and that. That's the sanctity of the marriage. The wall has been broken. There are men who are like that, who talk about their wives to females. Yeah? Talk about how bad their wives are to females. What are they doing? Inviting trouble. Inviting trouble. If my husband is to talk to another female about my problems, those two remain also in love. Why? Because they've got a secret that they have, which I don't know. They've got a secret. Once a man has a secret with another woman, which the husband, which the wife does not know, those two now have something in common. Do you understand? So, if you see how promiscuity comes about, for instance, there was a man, I don't mention the man, when I was at work, and the man started talking about his wife to me. And I answered that man, I said, I don't love men who talk about their wives. He says, why? I said, what's the good of telling me about your wife? Because I wouldn't like my own husband to do it. So what you are doing is what I don't like my husband to do to me. That's how you can shun men like that. There are men who enjoy talking about their wives. And there are wives who enjoy talking about their men to other men. Shun them. And that's how you can preserve the marriage. Do you understand? Now here it says, a third person is taken into the confidence of the wife, and her private family matters are laid open before the special friend. A woman who tells you, today I slept on the couch, I did not sleep with him, I slept with because I was angry. You are telling a male friend that. What are you doing? Breaking that wall.
Yes.
You are breaking the wall, and that man who is listening is coming. That's how the marriage vow is broken. The wall is broken by either of the two who are married telling their problems to a third person. That's how and that other one is listening, has forced himself to come into somebody's sanctity, somebody's marriage vow. By listening to their problems of intimacy, you are coming into their problems. Is it not what the devil is using to break these marriages? Right, let's hear. This is the device.
This is the device of Satan,
right?
to estrange the hearts of the husband and wife.
That's how a married man or a married woman breaks his own marriage. That this is how the devil is designed, that these marriages should break by introducing a third person who is the opposite sex, who will hear all your problems about your husband or all your problems about your wife. And the end of the matter is the marriage vow is broken. Yeah? This is the device of Satan to estrange the hearts of the husband and the wife. If you are found doing such things in front of God, you are far and far away from God. You are wandering far in the grounds of the devil. Now listen to that.
That this would cease.
If there is anyone who talks about his marriage to an opposite sex, should stop immediately. This is not allowed by God. This is how these marriages are broken. How do you break the marriage? By divulging what is happening between you and your husband. Why are you so loose to talk about your own marriage to people? Why? It's because you are careless about your wall of sanctity. Even my own sister, I don't talk about my husband to my own sister because I'm introducing somebody to divide us. I finish whatever is happening between me and my husband. I kneel and speak to God about it and try to iron the things together with my husband. I don't introduce somebody to break our marriage. I don't do that. There are some silly women who do that. We introduce other people to know what the husband is doing. It should be a problem between you and God and your husband only. And there are some silly men who do that. Introduce another woman to learn about what is happening between you and your wife. It should be a problem between God and you. Talk things over with your wife. Talk things over with your husband. This will promote a good marriage wall. Do you understand? Now listen, let's hear. Tell your troubles. Listen.
Tell your troubles alone to God.
Tell your troubles alone to God. We are married to men who can err. Is it true? And females who can err. Don't ever think you are married to an angel who does not err. You are married to somebody who can err like anybody else. Do not get that gambling with you gamble your marriage out by telling what your husband has done to somebody. It might be something that you think is worthwhile. Let me empty all my problem to somebody about my husband. If you are in that habit, your marriage vow will never be united. Your marriage vow will be broken unnecessarily because of your mouth. Is it? Now here it says, tell that your troubles alone to God. Huh? Amen. Anytime you are phoning, this is what I've done with my husband, my wife, this is what my wife is doing. What are you doing? Breaking that wall. A woman This is what this man is this man is that, this man is that. What are you doing? Breaking. It should be your problem with God, and talk it over with your husband. Find a good platform where you can, both of you, in soberness, discuss. If you can't discuss, then there's somebody very headstrong amongst the two of you. Or you are both headstrong, isn't it? So if your husband is hard, soft up. Yeah? And talk it over with a soft voice. If it is the wife who is hard, soft up. And talk it over with a soft, tender, soft voice.
Amen.
This is how you can iron your problems. Instead of telling people, you invite a lot of problems, a lot of people into your marriage vow, and the wall is broken like anything. In other marriages, the wall is terrible. It's just ragged. It's ragged. They are even held by a small string like that. And the marriage can break anytime. Why? Each one is in a spree of talking over what is happening in the house to somebody. Yeah? Now, let's hear the next point. Tell your troubles alone to God. Listen to that.
Lock within your own heart.
No. Tell your troubles alone to God. He can give you right counsel. Who gives right counsel? God. He can give you right counsel, sure consolation, which will be pure, having no bitterness in it. Who does that? How does God talk to us? Read. How many books do we have for marriages? Here is Adventist Home. We have it. Yeah? And what? We have a lot of counsels to females, counsels to males. In our books, there are plenty of books that deal with marriage. But finish the Adventist Home first. Finish it. We have a book. That's where we are reading right now. And that's where we are getting the counsel. Kneel down, promise God, tell me anything about my marriage, how I can solve it. He has confidence, and he will give you the right counsel and the sure consolation, and which will be a pure one and not bitterness that you get from the other people. You understand? Now, let's see again. Let's go to the 338.1 on the same Adventist Home. How can we preserve these marriages so that they are not broken? How can we preserve them? Make sure you maintain the sanctity of the marriage. No discussing whatever you do with anybody. No discussing, no inviting the third person between you and your husband to come in and break your marriage vow. But let's hear from this other paragraph. Let's hear. When
a woman relates her family troubles or complains of her husband to another man,
did you
she
hear?
violates her marriage vows.
The very first thing we have done a crime. If there is a man who knows what is happening between the two of you, you have already violated the marriage vow. Huh? How many men know about what we are doing in our houses? Relating troubles. It didn't say trouble between your romance or whatever, but your own troubles at home. Whatever you are doing between the two of you, some marriages you say they are better off not married. Because just headaches and headaches and headaches to other marriages. Is it true? You tell other people who are married as if they don't have problems as well. They have. What do? They give their problems to God and talk it over between themselves. But you have somebody who cannot do that, who will give all the problems to other men or all the problems to other women. Why? Because that person does not know how to maintain the marriage vow. The wall around the two of them should be maintained. You understand? Now here it says, there is another drama when I was growing up. So many people knew it was done by someone who was acting as a And I loved the way the woman conducted himself when I was growing up, when I was a child. Some people who grew up, he's late now, he was called Safirio Matsikatire. If you watch what Mai Wizi, Mai Wizi would act. While they were alone, they would, have arguments and arguments and arguments. But when somebody comes in and say, comes in as a visitor in the home, they pretended to be high. There's nothing that has happened. Nothing has happened around them. They pretended to be the most lovable couple. Do you understand? What were their lessons? No one should know when you have been arguing. No one should know when you have problems amongst the two of you. No one should guess. Why? If somebody knows, you are inviting that person into that trouble. And by so doing, you are breaking the marriage wall. This is how some marriages don't thrive. They don't thrive because each one is busy going to talk about the other. The man is busy going to talk about the wife. The wife is busy going to talk about the man. And you wonder whether, is there any wall? No, there's no wall. There are ruins. The wall has been ruined to nothing. These are ruins. And when there's no longer any wall, we are better off divorced than together because the wall is not there. If the wall is there, you enjoy your marriage. That's why some couples, people, wonder and enjoy and see couples which are knit together as if they have no problem at all. What are they doing? They cover their problems so that nobody sees, nobody hears about their problems. When you see them walking there, you say, ah la la, this is a very good couple, loving couple. When they also have problems the same as your problems, but they don't tell you. This is how God wants it designed. Your problems come between the two of you, send them to God. Kneel down. Talk it over, the two of you, in a good, be someone with tact, who know when to talk about problems. If you talk about problems anytime, and there are some people, even their neighbors where they're staying, they see that there's a problem in that marriage. Why? Because when they're now talking, they scream to their voices. The neighbors hear. They go outside chasing each other, throwing bags, throwing things, and the neighbors watch and say, wow! Some beat each other so that the neighbors even hear fist, back, 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 back. What are you doing to that sanctity of the wall? What are you doing? And when all the neighbors have heard about you, then you are calm. When you are calm, you are embarrassed. What have you done? What have you done? Did you not know nobody should know what is happening in your house? Did you not know? You didn't know. So it's in Shona they say mukadzi uno paradza muchato nemaoko ake. What does that mean? You break your marriage. Use your hands to break your marriage. Yeah. You use your strength to break it, and then you accuse people, I'm not, but who was breaking it? It's you. Why? Why did you make other people know what is happening between the two of you? Why did you not maintain the sanctity of the marriage? Why did you not maintain that wall, which God is saying, there is a wall which should encircle the two of you. Nobody should know what is happening between your relationship. No one. How many people know? How many people? So you're just as good as dead. As good as dead. What makes me go and people admire me and say, with my husband, we are, what makes me, because all our problems, I've never communicated with anyone. But do you think I don't have problems? I have. And what do I do with my problems? I tell God. I pray about them. I pray about my husband. I pray about my marriage vow. And that's why it's you know what? 1979. Did you hear? 1979. I got married. Calculate how many years is that? 1979, not 2000, but 1979. How many years is that? Those who know how to calculate.
43.
I can't even count it now. To me, I'm done, because What's the point of calculating how many years I've been with my husband? Because it's now to me it's automatic. I've got this man. I don't even think of a day I can separate this man. Because how many years have I stayed with this man? How many? 43. 43. Yeah? If my son is 43 right now, then it means I've stayed. And I've even nested another man. Yeah? It's a man now who's supposed to be starting to have gray hairs. So it means my marriage has lasted, isn't it? But what was the secret? Make sure nobody knows between me and my husband. If I tell you what has happened between the two of us, then I cease to be a married woman. The sanctity of my marriage is gone. Huh? Did you know that? Yeah, I break with my life. Why? Because I've lived a good life. I look back, 43 years, I've been married. 43 years, I've been married. Some hardly are married for 1 month or 1 day. You understand? But I break with it and say the secret is when there was problems, I knelt down. I spoke to God. He gave me the plan of how, the wisdom of how to deal with the problem. And the wisdom of how my husband should deal with the problem. And when we were together, we ironed out, and the problem was back, and we were in front. You understand? This is how you can maintain your marriages. Let's hear more. Let's hear. When a woman relates her family troubles or complains of her husband to another man, she violates her marriage vows. She dishonors her husband and breaks down the wall erected to preserve the sanctity of the marriage relationship. What does she do? She violates the marriage. How many women are doing that? Talking about their problems to some men. How many men are doing that? Talking over their problems to some women. You are violating the marriage vow. She dishonors her husband. That's how anyone will say, how the hell do they stay together when they don't even respect each other? How do I respect my husband? By not mentioning his name to other people. Talking about him. Talking about how bad he is. How bad he is. And those ones listening to me, they say, oh, even the respect is gone. And when the marriage is there without respect, it's a dissolved marriage already. The marriage is there because the two of them maintain respect to each other. That's what will anchor the marriage to be there, because you are mutually respecting each other. And how do I respect my husband? By not talking about him to other people, belittling my husband. It's the husband I should lift all the time. When I talk about how nice he is, I'm lifting him. You understand? When I don't even tell anyone about my problems with him, I'm making sure my husband walks tall. You understand? Your husband should walk tall. Your wife should walk tall. People will say, those people, though they are so poor, though they look miserable in poverty and whatever, but one thing is they love each other. That will maintain the family privacy and the marriage vow. Let's hear more there. She dishonors her husband. She breaks down the wall erected to preserve the sanctity of the marriage. So why talk about the divorce? You have the one way to turn it up. Is it? Have you ever talked about your husband or talked about your wife? Then you are divorcing already before the papers can divorce you. You understand? Now listen to that. Listen, the sanctity of the marriage relationship has been destroyed. And then she throws wide open the door and invites Satan to enter with his insidious temptations. Once you have broken that law, everybody else knows what is happening in your house. You have opened your parlors. You have opened your doors. Your house doors. To the devil to come in. To do what he can. Is it? Is it? Is it clear? Is it clear how marriages break?
Yes.
You start about what your husband is doing. People start learning. So it means that this is happening. So it means between you and your husband, there's no respect anymore. There's no sanctity. There's no what. So what do the people who are listening, what do they do now? They start giving you advices of what to do. If it is a man, the man will start getting attracted to you so that he provides the leg. If it's a woman, attracted also to you so that she provides the leg. What you are lacking is love, so she provides the love. What you are lacking is love, so he provides the love. This is what makes the seventh commandment broken. How did it start? It started by breaking the wall, whispering your problems to that man, or whispering your problems to that woman. And what happened? If they are both married, these ones, two families married, both families have broken their wall. Done. And to preserve that wall again is a hard struggle, because when a wall is broken, it's a hard struggle to start to stitch it up. You understand? Now let's hear more. She throws wide open the door and invites Satan to enter with his insidious temptations. Yeah? Let's hear. This
is just as Satan would have it. If a woman comes to a Christian brother with a tale of her woes, her disappointments and trials, he should ever advise her, if she must confide her troubles to someone, to select sisters for her confidence, and then there will be no appearance of evil, whereby the cause of God may suffer reproach.
The cause of God suffers because of such behavior. It's this behavior which makes the cause of God a snare of people communicating their problems to other husbands who are not there, and other wives who are not theirs. The cause of God is so distorted. But if you have any problem, if a woman has a problem, you have to select who to tell your problems, not a man, and not even a young girl. And there are so silly women who will have friends with young girls who are not yet married. And when the girls are talking about their boyfriends, I don't know what they talk about. Do they talk about their husbands? Do you think they'll talk about their husbands? What do they talk about? They say, I wish I also had a boyfriend. But this man also is dragging me with problems and this and that. And the young girls are enjoying and excited with their boyfriends. What do you do? What do you do? A married woman enjoying company of girls who are enjoying the love with single boys, and you are married. Where is your union with such girls? Where do you? We have seen some silly women like that. You select somebody older, respectful, who will also maintain confidence, and then tell that person after prayer. That person will keep your confidence. Keep everything. If you think you have tried with God and tried even to persuade your husband, nothing is happening. Select somebody who is carefully selected, not a friend. Not a friend who is not married. Not a friend who never ever, they won't give you a proper advice. You know for sure who can give you a proper advice. Go to people God-fearing. People who you know these are God-fearing, they will never, misinterpret in advising you. You need carefulness in that. But how many times we see any friend at work, we tell the friend. We see anyone In the bus, we tell them what my husband does. We see anyone, and what is the advice we are expecting? Anything to distort you. You are opening your doors wide for the devil to come and distort you. This is what happens. Do you understand? We are discussing here to see how we can preserve marriages. How then can we preserve marriages so that we meet Christ without breaking that marriage vow? God says, I hate divorce.
True.
And when he says, I hate divorce, there's nothing so wrecked, so bittering like divorce. It's bitterness between the two who are divorcing, bitterness even between the children. Everywhere is bitter. Bitterness between those who are next of kin. Bitterness everywhere, caused by one silly action, whispering your problems. You understand? Now let's hear more. Then we have seen how things go. How then do we stand firm? How are we going to stand firm with our marriages? What is the advice? We need advice, isn't it? Let's go for the advice. It's Same Adventist Home, page 338.2. Our books have it. Our books have all our solutions, not our friends, but our books. Now, how? Right, I speak to our people. Listen to what Sister White says there.
I speak to our people. If you draw close to Jesus,
Right?
and seek to adorn your profession by a well-ordered life and godly conversation, your feet will be kept from straying into forbidden paths.
Right, we have seen a solution there. One, the first thing, if you draw close to Jesus, how do you draw close to Jesus? Someone said, I draw close by praying. Praying only. Yes, you are drawing close, but not too close. Reading, right? When you are reading and practicing what you are reading and keeping your mind stayed. Remember that day when you say, let the words of my mouth and the meditation of mine be accepted. Philippians 4 verse 8 is it all. Keep holy thoughts in your brain. Now, this is how we stay, we draw close to Jesus and seek to adorn your profession by well-ordered life. Some life is not ordered. It's always arguments. There's no order. There's no order. There's no logic in life. There's no, I was called by a couple who, they were planning to go to work, and the children also needed someone to be cared for. You understand? A simple thing like that. The rate of the shift of the man had more money. And the woman also, her rate had less money. They all want to go to work. But what were they supposed to do? They need money. That's the one thing. So who can give us more money? The husband. You go while I stay with the child. Is it not sober? Is it not orderly? But they all wanted to go. You see what is not orderly? You are not sober. You should reason. Soberness comes with it. Some women and some men cannot even reason. Cannot even listen to the other side. It's always me. We need to put things on scale. When you can't live with somebody, don't get married. When you can share, don't get married. When you are selfish, don't get married. Marriage is all about losing yourself and caring for someone. Marriage is all about reasoning. When you can't reason, there are people who can't reason. Do you know that? Who naturally can't reason. They are like autistic on something. I can't change. It says to go my way. Then it's hard for you to share values and you share what to do and responsibilities in the home. Because you say to yourself that I. all the time. Marriage needs people who can talk together and share problems. There are some families where both work, husband and wife work, and the husband does everything, pays bills, pays this, is the one making sure they eat, is the one making sure, and the wife nothing to do, and the money is mine, is mine, is mine, you care for me, you are the man, you are the man. And such injustice practiced in the home, no sooner or later, the man will whisper that problem to somebody. Because you can't reason. You can't reason, it's always me. Do everything for me, everything, you. What about your man? It's mine, it's mine, it's mine. And there are some homes where the wife is the only breadwinner or the man is the only breadwinner. And they reason out and say, you are staying home with the children, you are making it possible for me to go to work by remaining with the children. So whatever I will get is for us all. That's a reasonable man. Or even a woman who say, you are staying with the children, you are doing this in the home, while I'm going to look for money. What I get is for us all, and we share. That's reasoning. But you find there are some places where the money for the woman is not known. The man should be the breadwinner and everything, and you're expecting your marriage to last. To last? You think it will last? Never. When there's injustice, the marriage doesn't last. The man knows you are not just. You are not just. You are not sharing enough. And we have to meet at the cross, all of us, and share to make a good home, so that both parties are happy. The man is happy, the woman is happy, and that is good home. That's a good home. Not a home where someone is only thinking about himself or only thinking about herself. There's no happiness. And the children feel it. That mother and father are not happy here. And the children also are not happy. Do you understand? Yes. We need to make good homes where we all reason, where we all act from reason, and make sure we provide happiness for both sides. The mother and the father are happy, and the children are happy, and the visitors are happy. Everyone enjoys coming to your home because they find happiness. There are some homes you think twice, shall I go or shall I not? In case I find them freaking to each other. In fact, I find them quarreling and shouting, and it will be so unwelcome and spoils my day. You just don't want to go and be part of that. You understand? That's life is what you make it. Life is what you make it. You make your bed, lie on it comfortably, on it. And some beds are really difficult beds to lie on. They've got thorns and briars. You lie on them, you are pricked everywhere. Why? Because you made a wrong bed. It's a wrong bed. Let's hear here. It says, I speak to our people.
I speak to our people. If you draw close to Jesus and seek to adorn your profession by a well-ordered life and godly conversation.
Right, that's another thing. A godly conversation. Some people can hardly have it. It's always carrying you, get me, leave me alone. Here. There's no conversation which is godly. It's always quarrels, attacking, confrontational, talk, everything. This has no room for a good marriage to be sustained. You can't sustain the marriage that way. You need to polish your words when you talk to each other, to exercise politeness. You know, there are some homes where you cannot say good morning to your own husband. Can't say good morning. Or your own husband saying good morning to the wife. They just get to bed and get out. Get to bed and get out. Yeah, some homes where they can't even sit down to budget. You get your money, you are into the shopping mall, you are back, it's all gone. You can't sustain a marriage that way. You can't sustain a marriage that way. You need to be reasonable. You need to have an orderly life. You need something, a system in your home which will provide happiness for both sides, for the children, for the visitors, for the wife, for the husband. It's the marriage God is looking for, and the angels will ever be hovering there because there is a godly atmosphere. Amen. This is what God is looking for. Now listen to that. It says, if you conduct a godly conversation with your own husband, not with somebody. Some people know how to conduct a good conversation, godly conversation, when talking to other people. When they tend to their own husbands or tend to their own wives, it's like the war of Armageddon. Fighting like, I don't know what you can call, a war. Why do you want to exercise politeness to other people and that politeness is not even there in your own husband? When you are debating with your husband or in your own family, it's a foreign thing in your family. But in other people, you are so with a good voice which everybody will envy. But you are nasty in your home, very nasty. It says, with a good, godly conversation. Now, all married women and married husbands, today, go and practice what is called a godly conversation. Amen. Or talking to each other, respecting with polite words. Select good words. You can see some husbands, when they are talking to their women, they talk as if they are talking to a rubbish. And there are women who talk to their husbands as a rubbish. Start exercising a godly conversation. The time is near. Christ is about to come. You need to practice that. You can't profess Christianity when this is foreign in your mouth. You need a godly conversation where you all enjoy and say, this was a lovely day. You know, it's a lovely day. Yeah? Practice. Most mornings, when I wake up, I walk with my husband. We walk together, talking and enjoying as friends. Some men and women can't do that in their homes. Can't do that. They say, oh, what? Walking? Where are you going? Where do you want to go? With me? Don't walk with you. I don't. Why can't you walk with your own wife? Why can't you walk with your own husband? Why can't you make friends with your own husband and your own wife? Why can't you do that? Practice it now. For in heaven, we are going all to be friends, staying there, proving that this is what we were before we entered the kingdom. Now listen to that. It says, if you have an orderly life, that's an orderly life. Yeah? My family knows when they get up, when they are off duty, they are at home, they get up, first thing you see them going together, walking as friends, and they walk everywhere, and they finish, they come back, they start doing housework and everything together. I spend almost the whole day with my husband. And sometimes I loathe only to see him going alone to town with car to buy this and that. I wish I could go with him. Why don't you think? It's something that you should be enjoying and interested in, that I have a friend who is constant. Some people enjoy when their husbands are not there. At home, say, trouble is not there today. And when the wife is not there, this trouble is our way. Oh, trouble is coming. Listen, trouble is here. Trouble is here. And some people, when their husband come from work, they lock their doors. Don't come in. You're late. You're late. And the husband is knocking. We see what is happening in these doors. They're knocking. Please open for me. It's cold outside. I don't open. Go where you were. Not coming in. Silly husband, silly wife. You're expecting your wife, your marriage to last. I said mine is 43 years, my dear. It's not a joke to maintain it. 43 years. You think you can say 43 years when you're locking your husband out? You should actually say this is a privilege to see him coming back. For there are some women who never see them coming back. You have got you are fortunate he comes back to you. Some finish work, they go elsewhere. And 2 weeks, I had another woman saying, my husband has been away for 2 weeks. And I said, where is he? I said, I don't know. I don't know where this woman got this patience of waiting for a husband who has been away for 2 weeks. And someone said, with me, he won't even come back. After 2 weeks, I'll just throw hot water on him. Yeah, and you think that's the right way to live? This woman, I'm yet to debate with this woman to say, when he came back, what happened? Do you know what? Politeness and maintaining good works, he will know that I have a saint at home. It's the other way around that you should. If you think the way he opened that door, he will find me mad. I'll strip my clothes and see that I'm mad today. You know what? It's not the right way. The right way is to treat him politely with respect and reverence, and he will think. But if you want him not to think and continue doing it, do it. Start locking him his door. He'll go back. You will know I've got a lunatic at home. He's always mad. Even when I go early, that woman will be mad. Even when I'm late, he's mad. So I've got a mad person at home, so I don't care. If you want to make your husband not to care, treat him that way, and he won't care. You won't care. You just say, you think you are going to rule my life, I will show you, I will treat you, I will teach you. But if you hold, if you show him respect and show him what a woman, a steady woman, a sober one with an orderly life should do. When he is wrong, he will come and say, you know what, I wish I can buy you a present just to say I'm sorry. Huh? So it's the way you make your bed and you lie on it. Do you understand? Yeah. And it says here, by your godly conversation. And the other thing is that by your feet will be kept from straying into forbidden paths. Do you understand? Now let's hear the next sentence. If
you will do everything as if you were in the...
If you will only watch. Did you hear? If you will only watch continually, watch unto prayer. Do you see what you should do? Your husband has been away for two weeks. You don't even know where your husband is. What is your duty? Watch and pray. Pray for your husband. He's straying away. Pray for him. Watch and pray, and God sends an angel to conduct, to take your husband away from straying, and your husband comes home safe. You have been praying for your husband. Not you are brooding and you are breathing air, hot air, that if he comes, he will see me today. You understand? You're making it worse. Making it worse. You make it worse. Learn. The ways are there in the books that we read. In the Bible, in the books, everything is there. Any soft voice, a voice which is polite, even when the husband is so harsh, will calm down. Do you understand? Some they talk it over until the husband starts beating them. Why? It takes two to tango. Why did your husband beat you? Something to do with your mouth. So make sure you tone up. You make your voice polite, calm, be orderly. And no husband will beat any woman like that. Do you understand? And let's hear more. If you
will only continually watch unto prayer, if you will do everything as if you were in the immediate presence of God,
right,
you will be saved from yielding to temptation and may hope to be kept pure, spotless, and undefiled till the last.
Right. How do we behave? If you will behave as knowing that you are in front of God every minute, ask yourself, did God hear that word that I threw to my husband? If you say yes, he heard, You should be embarrassed. You should be embarrassed to say it. So tell yourself before you utter that word, that am I going to utter something that will please God? Yeah? Before you create a scene, a drama, as if now something you are under another spirit. Ask yourself, am I in front of God? This is the only way you can survive. With a soberly, godly conduct. This is what God is asking husbands and wives to behave like. Know that every time God is looking at them, is hearing the words they are uttering. If you have that above your thoughts every minute, you will conduct yourself well. You understand? Yes, temptations start. When you ask, when you kneel to God and say, please help me to have a spirit which is calm. Do you know how He helps you? He tests you with a spirit, with an environment which makes you not calm. So that you do what you asked for. Calm down. He makes sure today you meet something that will make you mad. So that's how He is trying to help you. So what should you do? Exercise calmness. Then you know you have survived. And you have overcome. You understand? But if you ask for that, help me, God. Keep me calm. Keep me with a good spirit and godly conversation. What happens that day? God submerges you with an environment which will make you like a mad person, which is, I don't know what you take for yourself to be mad or something like that. Then He wants you to exercise that caution. If you don't, you have failed. Finish. That's how He comes in. You know, someone was taking children out of, from what do you call it? They took children to send to a boarding school, and said the boarding school was just a girls' boarding, so that the children do not mix with men, so that they don't have they don't commit a promiscuity. Huh? Was that proper? The proper thing was to make sure the children, they mix. But while they're mixing, they don't go against their Lord. That's it. Do you get the point? Now listen, here it says, on the next sentence then, if you hold the beginning, that's where I want.
If you hold the beginning of your confidence firm unto the end,
right?
Your ways will be established in God.
Now, it's not too late if you are a victim of someone who does not, follow what God wants. It's not too late. It's to say, from this hour, I'm starting. Don't look back and say, oh, what about that year I did this? No, don't look back. Say, I'm starting from now. And from now, nothing bad will come from my mouth. Just from there. And hold it from the beginning. Did you hear? From the beginning, hold it. And hold your confidence firm unto the end. What confidence? Don't talk about your husband. Don't talk about your wife. From now, I won't do it. Until the end. You have a changed life. Do you understand? The life will be forever changed, and the circle will start building up. You understand? Around you. The two of you have now started to build a circle, a wall of sanctity. And you are holding your confidence from now until the end. Do you understand that? Now let's read.
If you hold the beginning of your confidence firm unto the end, your ways will be established in God. And what grace has begun, glory will crown in the kingdom of our God.
Right, God comes to crown it in the kingdom. Why? You started to walk with the principles that God has laid for the marriage. What principles? Don't invite a third person in the world. Don't speak your problems to another person. speak to God alone. If you have to speak to somebody, choose, select carefully somebody who is God-fearing, who will hold your confidence. Not who will spread everything that is happening from you, spread it all over and abroad so that everybody knows. No. Look carefully for somebody old enough to keep your confidence. You understand? Now let's hear. The fruits
of the Spirit are love,
right?
Joy,
right?
Peace, long-suffering,
right?
Gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance.
Right.
Against such there is no law.
Do you see the fruit of the Spirit? Love. This is what you should keep in your brain. Love. Huh? Love who? That very husband you think is not lovable. Love. Start loving that husband. That very wife which you think is not lovable. Yeah? That's the fruit of the Spirit. Love, create joy among the two of you, peace, and be long-suffering. You know, there are some people who are not even long-suffering. Hey, you always do it. Hey, I know you always do it, and you never stop doing it. You have even censured that person that is never going to improve. But here, long-suffering, gentleness, yeah, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Those are the fruits of the Spirit. You understand? And what? Yeah?
Against such there is no law.
Right?
If Christ be within us, we shall crucify the flesh with the affections and lusts.
Right. So all those that are the opposite of what has been said. The opposite of love is what? Hate. Yeah? Peace is what? Abnormal life. Upside down life. All that does not come from God. If in your marriage you find it's the opposite of love, know the devil is within your ranks. Yeah? If in your marriage there is no joy, know that the other partner, the other before, the devil is within your ranks. And if the opposite of the fruit of the Spirit, you have seen, is peace, long-suffering. If you are not long-suffering, it means who is ruling your life? It's the devil. It's the devil. Why are you so short-tempered? Why don't you persevere? Well, it makes you angry, but persevere and continue steadfast. Yeah? It is nothing so making you a strong, someone who is very strong in character than anyone expecting you to be angry, and instead you remain calm. Everybody will say this is a strong person. You understand? But when everybody else is expecting you to be angry and you are also angry like anything, you are very weak. You're not strong. And someone who is strong is when we expect you to cry and instead you are calm, then that's a strong person. Yeah? That's a strong person. When you're expected to talk and shout, instead you maintain calmness. You maintain good fruits of the Spirit. Joy. Yeah? Temperance. Yeah? All those are the fruits of the Spirit. Then, if we have those fruits of the Spirit, then God is among your ranks. Yeah? Right. Is this? If
Christ be within us, we shall crucify the flesh with the affections and the lusts.
Right. So if Christ is allowed to reign in that home, the fruits of the Spirit are dwelling in that home. Amen. Yeah? The fruits of the Spirit, long-suffering, gentleness, people are gentle in the home. Yeah? Goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law. The home has the evidence that the Spirit of God is among them. These people. Why? There's gentleness, there's love, there's all this that makes everybody. If you see visitors flocking to your home, they are the fruits of the Spirit that they are looking for. And they're enjoying the fruit. And the people who stay there, they take long to say goodbye. They enjoy staying in your presence because they are enjoying these fruits of the Spirit. They are the ones that are detaining them to say goodbye. I'll see you tomorrow. They continue, story after story, enjoying. You are laughing. You are enjoying. These are the fruits of the Spirit. But in a home where it's the other way around, not even a visitor will come. Yeah, not even a visitor will come. They are scared of the fruits that are not of the Spirit. They are scared. There is no joy. There is no gentleness. There is no long suffering. There is no, even amongst yourself, you are just cutting it, speaking. Even visitor can notice this. Oh, that word. I don't care. This and that. There is no God. No one enjoys that environment. Do you understand? Now, let's go to the next paragraph. TSB. So then, where these impure thoughts, which comes when we have opened the door for the devil to come in. So there is now, there are impure thoughts now start because we have widened the door. But we want to know from this book, TSB 100.1. Now, each one starts developing these impure thoughts. The woman starts having affairs outside, looking for love outside. The man starts looking for love outside, being loved more outside than inside the home. These are impure thoughts now coming in. Where do these impure thoughts come from? Start where it says, none can glorify God.
None can glorify God in their body as he requires, while they are living in transgression of the law of God. If the body violates the seventh commandment, it is through the dictation of the mind. If the mind is impure, the body will naturally engage in impure acts.
Now, what has kept this mind impure is the environment in the home. God is not thriving, God is not present. So either or, whether the man or the woman has impure thoughts. You understand? Anything can happen with the man, anything can happen with the woman. Anything. It's now a harbor of impure thoughts. So, but what has happened is the mind now which has been polluted, and then impure thoughts arise. You understand? And then what happens? Purity.
Purity cannot exist in the soul of one who yields his body to impure acts.
Right. So impure acts start. Because the fruits of the Spirit are not there in the home. So impure acts start. And then the body has no purity. So God does not thrive in a body which is not pure. So our aim every day is to keep our bodies pure, so that God can reside in the body which is pure. The Spirit of God resides in our bodies. And then here, purity cannot exist in the soul of one who yields his body to impure acts. If the body is serving lust, listen to that sentence. What does it say?
If the body is serving lust, the mind cannot maintain consecration to God.
Now when you start that game, because the body of the woman or the body of the man always wants to be loved. But the love is not there at home. And the love is sought outside there. And the love which is outside is called adultery. And then once you have started that action of adultery, it says, purity then cannot exist in the soul of one who yields his body to impure actions. I wonder, there are some who, after committing all that impurity, they continue wanting to serve God. They continue wanting to be ministers of God, when with impure thoughts. This is what God hates and abhors. You understand? If the body is serving lust, the mind cannot maintain consecration to God. The consecration is gone. That's why we end up with an unconsecrated ministry. Why? Because there is impurity in the bodies, there is lust, the body, the sanctity of marriage is gone, and then the man is all over the place, can sleep with anyone out there. I still want to serve God as a minister, which is quite dangerous grounds. Do you understand? You remember Uriah, is it Uzzah, who tried to handle the ark. And what happened? He died straight away. There's no sin like that which is so dangerous like that. Serving God when you know you now have impure thoughts. You understand? Now listen to that.
To preserve a sanctified mind, the body must be preserved in sanctification and honor.
If you want to serve God, the body should always be sanctified. It should be preserved, sanctified. You can't have a body which has no sanctification, and then you still want to serve God with such a body. Now, the body should maintain sanctification and honor. Do you understand? Should be honored first by God. God should give you that honor and sanctification. Then you are able to serve others, isn't it? Now listen to that. The mind
would then serve the law of God and yield willing obedience to all its claims. Then, with the apostle, such can yield their members as instruments of righteousness unto
the
God.
first proof that you can work as an apostle or as a preacher or anything, you are able. You can yield the members of the church as you can yield. You can also control your own members of your body. The body has got members, isn't it? You can control them, isn't it? Then you can control God's body, which is the church. You can work as a minister when you are able to work as a minister to your own body. Is it? Right. Point 2 there. TSB 100.2.
No real enjoyment of life for sinners.
Now when you start a life full of lust, full of impurity, you have stopped what is called happiness. No real enjoyment of life for sinners. Let's hear this paragraph. It says,
The Lord made man upright.
Right?
But he has fallen and become degraded because he refuses to yield obedience to the sacred claims which the law of God has upon him. All the passions of man, if properly controlled and rightly directed, will contribute to his physical and moral health.
Once you keep the whole law and you make sure your body is subjected to the law, then you will contribute to the physical and the moral health of your body. Physically you will be happy. Morally you are happy. Because the law of God is not condemning you. Sometimes you have no happiness because there is a lot of condemnation. You see people who are bitter. Talking everywhere, Facebook, they're trying to justify how good they are. It's because they are being condemned in spirit. The heart is condemned, then you start to accuse people. Why do you think I'm this? Why are you judging me? Why do you think I didn't repent? Why do you think? It's because you are condemning yourself. If you are at peace with the law, at peace with anything, you don't condemn anybody. You are happy morally and spiritually. If you see people using text from the Bible, text from the spiritual prophets to justify themselves broadly and publicly, it's because their spirit is condemned already. And they want to point at other people as the cause of that condemnation. Those who are happy have no problem with that. They don't point fingers to others to say, you are doing this to me, you are thinking I'm this, you are thinking of that. They have no time for that. They have time for happiness. They have time to be happy. Now, if you start pointing fingers to this one and that one and that one, and why do you think I'm only with God and God alone? You are just the opposite, because you are condemned. You are condemning yourself already, and you are making it known by people. Now, listen to that. Read more. It says, the Lord made man upright, but he has fallen and become degraded, because he refuses to yield obedience to the sacred claims which the law of God has upon him. All the passions of man, if properly controlled and rightly directed, will contribute to his physical and moral health and ensure him a great amount of happiness. Happy are those who have not broken the law. They are happy. Those who have broken the law, they are bitter. They are bitter and they are condemning people. You are judging me. Don't judge me. It's God alone who knows me. Why are you doing that? It's because you are condemning yourself. Those who have not broken the law have no time to do that. That's nonsense. They have time only to be happy and show people how nice it is to follow God's law. They are happy physically and morally. Now, read. The adulterer.
The adulterer, the fornicator, and the incontinent do not enjoy life.
They don't enjoy life. Each time they are thinking, oh, people, what do they think about me? Oh, don't think I'm like this. It's God only who knows me. This and that. Why are you doing that? Because you are not happy. You are not happy. It says they don't enjoy life. When you are an adulterer, you don't enjoy, because already your mind is condemning you for your actions. And then you want to take it upon people. Now, the adulterer, the fornicator, the incontinent do not enjoy life. They don't enjoy life. Yeah? And what?
There can be no true enjoyment for the transgressor of God's law.
No, for sure. The law of God, once you transgress it, you have no sleep. You can't sleep. You condemn yourself, because it's the Spirit of God is condemning you, and then you think it's somebody condemning you. Then you're saying, oh, don't judge me, don't judge. They want to judge and criticize me. They want to this. Who is doing that? It's the Spirit of God in your heart, judging you, condemning you. Don't take it upon people. Take it upon yourself and yield and obey God's laws. You will find happiness. You will find everything that happiness can give you. Now here it says, he directs, the Lord knew.
The Lord knew this. Therefore, he restricts man. He directs, commands, and he positively forbids.
Now, why do you think God gave us the 10 Commandments? Why do you think God gave us this law? It's because he knows that it will give us happiness. You offend any of that point, there is no happiness. So that's why God was worried about our happiness. That's why we say that's where we should hang your love, on the 10 Commandments. Why? Because it gives you happiness. Now listen to that. The Lord.
The Lord well knew that the happiness of his children depends upon their submission to his authority and living in obedience to this holy, just, and good rule of government.
Right. So you see here, God gave this law because he knew as long as you are keeping that law, you are a happy being. You are happy. As long as you have condemned, you are breaking that law, you are condemned in the heart by God. God's Spirit condemns you. And then you interpret it as if it's people condemning and judging you, but it is God's Spirit judging you. It is condemning you to be subjected to the law. And this is what makes those who are adulterers, fornicators, they are not happy. It's because of the condemnation in the heart. Now, 101.2 there, it says,
101.2.
no, go to the top 1.1. The thoughts of actions.
Okay. Thoughts and actions open to God. Man may pass on a while and conceal the fact that he is an adulterer. Yet God has his eye upon him. He marks the man.
Right, he says the moment you start committing adultery, God puts a mark on you. Yeah? Yeah. Marks your back, follows you everywhere with that mark. Isn't it? Some people get a sign when they are prisoners, they get, what do you call it? A tag. Why? Everywhere where you go, you are known where you are. Is it? So God does the same. You commit adultery, he puts a tag on you. The very first time you start it, he puts a tag. Let's mark this man. He puts a mark on you. This is what happens in heaven. We're seeing what happens with men in the heart. Now let's see what happens with God. Listen to that.
Man may pass on a while and conceal the fact that he is an adulterer. Yet God has his eye upon him. He marks the man.
He marks that man.
He cannot conceal his crimes before God.
He marks the man and he knows what he's doing.
He may apparently conduct himself properly before his family and before the community.
And the
be
man
esteemed.
comes. Before the family, the wife doesn't even guess that the man is doing that. The family doesn't even guess that this is what this man has started. The church where you go, maybe you are a minister or an elder or whatever. Nobody, no member guesses what you are doing. But there's one person who now knows you are in adultery. It's God. Now what happens? Listen.
And may be esteemed a good man.
And even others can testify that this is a good man. This is the best of bests. When God knows what you are doing. Listen to that.
But does he deceive himself in thinking there is not knowledge with the Most High?
But the question is, does he deceive himself in thinking there is not knowledge with the Most High? Does he not deceive himself, thinking everyone is, nobody saw me, nobody saw me. Even my wife, I can even be a loyal husband. The wife can't guess. Even the children, even the church. I'm working as a minister, the church is saying amen, even with tears. No one can know, but are you deceiving yourself to think that God does not know? Now listen to that. He is
exposing his corruption to the view of the majesty of
He
heaven.
is now working in front of the majesty with a corrupt heart. It's the majesty alone, the king in heaven who knows what he has done. Right? And yeah?
He who is high and lifted up, and the train of whose glory fills the temple, sees and knows even the thoughts and the intents and purposes of the heart of the transgressor, who is debasing himself in the sight of the pure, sinless angels, who are recording all the acts of the children of men. And not only is his sin seen, but it is marked by the recording angel.
And the recording angel has recorded everything. And is marking that person pretending to be a loyal minister, pretending to be a loyal husband, pretending to be a loyal father, a loyal person in the community. Everyone talking good of him. But the recording angel has got a very contradictory report about him. Now listen to that. In point 2, 101.2, the transgressor.
The transgressor of God's law may pass on for a time without exposure.
You can go years and years without being exposed. God is marking only the recording angel beside you all the time. Years and years like that. Listen to that.
But sooner or later, he will find himself overtaken, exposed, and condemned.
Who exposes him? Sooner or later, when the church knows about your sin, know for sure God has reached a place where you should be exposed. You shouldn't go further than that. You need to be exposed. The God and the recording angel makes sure you are exposed. That's why you see people come together now to say, we have now been shown this sin by God. And they need to act. So it remains the crime of those who are now acting and disfellowshipping you. But what about God and the recording angel? Are you also giving them the crime of talking about your sin? Now, let's go.
Whoever dares to violate the law of God will experience from himself that the way of the transgressor is hard.
The way of the transgressor is hard. Better leave it alone, that sins. Better leave it, because the consequences of it are very tremendous. If you want a peaceful life, let go, adultery. Don't do it. Because you will not control its consequences. When the consequences happen, they affect even those who are innocent. They affect children, they affect your family, they affect your relatives, they affect your local church, they affect everyone, but the cause of all this is you. True. So if you want to be peaceful, let go. Don't do it. Then there will be peace in your life. Hey, I'm a peaceful man. I'm only quiet with God. But what did you do? You have created things that you can't control. You create things that you can't control. You know what happens? You know, a crocodile. Do you know a crocodile? A crocodile is this very strong animal, species. Only when it is in water. Did you know that? When it is inside the water, no one dare go near it. When it is there, it has dived on you. Do you know that? A crocodile is very strong as long as it's swimming in water. Yeah? Like it is a minister is very strong with the word of God, preaching it while it's pure in front of God. Being used by God is very strong and powerful. Did you know that? And nobody dare speak against the minister when the minister is in water, in the Spirit of God. Nobody dare condemn a minister. Did you hear that? But the crocodile, the sooner it's out of the water, even the children, small children like this, they hold the body like this. It doesn't do anything. Do you know that? It doesn't do anything. It's got no power. You commit adultery. Even a young boy like this will talk about you. Why? You've come out of the water. Anything. You are not powerless. You are not powerful anymore. Anybody can say anything. You can't control that because you're out of the water. You have set yourself outside the water. Even anything outside there can touch you, can even beat you, you have no power. You only get the power when you are in water. So stay inside the water, stay inside purity. Make sure your marriages are pure and sanctified. Maintain the wall of sanctification. Everyone will respect your family. Did you hear that? Everyone will respect you. Preach that word when you know everything. You are upright with the law of God. You have not transgressed that law. Preach that gospel. You will find everyone nodding and saying that was powerful. Amen. Did you hear? Maintain yourself in the love of God. God all-seeing eye, right?
If we were to cherish an habitual impression that God sees and hears all that we do and say and keeps a faithful record of our words and actions, and that we must meet it all, we would fear to sin.
If we were to cherish the habit, that God sees and hears all that we say and all that we do, that will change our course of life.
Sure.
Sometimes we act as if there is no God at all. The sky is only blue, nothing. There's no God. What do you think somebody who commits adultery thinks? Does he think there's God?
No.
There's no God at all. If God was there, he would be embarrassed and afraid to do it. Now here it says, let the young
ever remember that wherever they are and whatever they do, they are in the presence of God. No part of our conduct escapes observation. We cannot hide our ways from the Most High.
When we start thinking all these haywire things, all these lusts, all these impurities, think, is God alive? Is he watching? Is he listening? Is he with me right now? What is he saying when I'm doing this? Think of all those questions. Then that will change the course of life. May God bless the word.
Amen.